What's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It has been 1 year of ownership with the ZR1, so today I thought we'd go for a drive, talk about what it's been like owning this amazing car, talk about some of the pros, and talk about actually some of the cons and stuff that's come up while owning it for the last year. And in that 1 year, 2,399 miles, probably hit 2,400 miles. Pay no attention to the check engine light. I'll explain what that's about here in a second. So here we go, let's go drive and talk about the 2019 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1. Before we start, here's the actual window sticker itself. It's a 2019 ZR1. Elkhart Lake blue metallic, jet black interior. The biggest thing, it's a 3ZR memory package. It's got all the stuff with the 3ZR. The ZTK package, track performance, which gives you performance ride, the cup twos, the high wing spoiler, front splitter. Got the competition sport seats, and then museum delivery. Microfiber seat inserts, carbon fiber and suede microfiber wrapped steering wheel, high gloss carbon fiber. I got the performance intake, and then sorry, I forgot even to mention that performance intake from the factory. Carbon flash, painted wheels, blue stitching. And then outside mirrors were carbon flash, and that is $142,450 was the MSRP. Let's talk about the car. I've had this car now exactly 1 year. If you've been following the channel, you know the story behind that. I'll put a link up, a card for the video I did, but the long story short, 2019 ZR1 was announced to be the last front engine, manual transmission, rear wheel drive, big V8 that they were going to make for the Corvette, because the C8 was moving to the mid-engine car, and it was going to be dual clutch only, so no more rowing the gears and stuff like that. So at the last minute, I got an allocation from Jim Glover Chevrolet in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is a big supporter of Folds of Honor, which I'm also involved with, and they helped me out. So I think it was like 15 from the last one ever made. So it was very, like one of the last that they were gonna make. So put the allocation in. It took a long time for them to get built and everything, but it did. And a lot of people ask me why, with the C8 being announced, because I think I put the order in like a couple weeks before the C8 came out, and people were like, well, why are you getting rid of the car, or why are you getting this car when the C8 came out? And it was just because, look, this is Americana, you know, this is an American front engine. It was just the last of the breed, and the manual transmission and stuff. So we waited several months and finally did it. And I did the Corvette museum delivery because it was something my dad and I had always talked about doing together. He passed away in 2013, and it was just, I said, hey, if I'm gonna buy a Corvette, I'm gonna do it. So Doug, who's a good friend of the channel, good friend of mine, he and I went out and we took delivery of the Corvette 1 year ago, and drove it back the 600 miles back to Louisiana. And then the next day I did paint protection, which included the XPEL, which I'll talk about here when we stop. I'll show you the exterior stuff. And then I did the ceramic coating as well on top of that. So the other immediate mod I did, you'll notice that I have Grand Sport wheels on this, and the Grand Sport wheels are I wanted to put Michelin Pilot Super Sports on it just for daily driving. When I go to the track, I put the ZR1 Cup 2s on, but for driving around, I just run with the Super Sports because the tread wear is a little bit better. It throws a little bit less rocks. Also got the XL guards on it as well. So what's it been like owning it? Like I said, 2,400 miles on this car. Not a whole lot of miles. I drove the, you know, I had the Camaro ZL1 before this, and I drove that almost double what I drove this. And part of that was because I usually drive, you know, to the gym and back, and I have two gyms, and one of the gyms, the incline's too steep to get the car up, and I haven't been brave enough to even try it. Although my Z06 fits, so I guess if that fit, you know, this will fit too. But the other part was Corona. You know, when COVID happened, everything shut down, had less of a reason to drive it, and I just haven't been able to drive it as much as I would like. So I still love the car. I got in touch with AWE exhausts, which is pretty awesome. That's the car you heard the cold start. We did they contacted me, wanted to be a part of the channel, and I worked with them. They had a brand new exhaust for the C7, which we put on the car. So it's the AWE touring exhaust and the X-Pipe, the off-road X-Pipe, which they can't even sell anymore. That's not a thing. So we got the X-Pipe and put that on, and the car dynoed a little over 700, I think it was 711 or something like that. It was 800 crank horsepower if you do the conversion or whatever. So 711 or so, 713 at the wheels, which is about 800 shaft horsepower. So, I mean, it's a beast, you know, it's a beast of a car. So we got that exhaust installed, and then I went out and did the, somebody's always cutting their grass. Every time I go down here, there's always somebody cutting their grass. So we dynoed it, and then I went to the track, NOLA Motorsports Park. I've run both the Camaro and the Corvette at the same track, so there's a pretty valid comparison, and I'll show you the lap time here, but it's almost 10 seconds faster. I mean, it's such a difference. Now, granted, with the car came the Spring Mountain ZR1 school, so I went and did that before I went to the track, and that went really well, and I ran really fast there and felt really comfortable with the car, which I had never even been to that track with the ZL1. I think the ZL1's probably capable of, you know, 159 or right at 2 minutes, but I still think, you know, this is, if I'm faster in this car, I still think it's probably, you know, 6 to 9 seconds faster, which is a lot on a road course. I mean, it's just amazing. And as far as track performance, it's very balanced. It's very easy to go fast. It has a lot of grip. It has a lot of braking, and it just there's so much torque. The biggest problem is wheel spin, because you've just got so much torque. Now, as far as the modes go, we'll as soon as I stop, we'll go through all the different modes and stuff like that. So, and kind of the interior of the car. But as far as, you know, track modes, I run Sport 1, and that seems to work out really well. That's what they recommend at the driving school, and that gives you performance traction management. So it's, you know, trying to limit wheel spin as much as possible. I mean, this car is still a head turner. Everybody waves at me. Everybody says hi. The car itself, you know, I didn't get a convertible because this is track capable, but you can see I've got the top off. I always love to have the top off, especially, you know, right now it's a little hot. I mean, it's 80 degrees, it's gonna get hotter. It's a great car to have the top off and just go drive around and stuff. So I've really enjoyed all the different aspects of owning this car and, you know, using it on the track. I plan to go back to the track in October. It should be a great time, but we'll take a look at the interior, and then we'll take a look at the exterior, and then I'll talk about, so I've talked pretty much about all the pros. Let's talk about the cons as well, because there's been some things that have come up with the car that I've had to work through. Okay, now that we're stopped, let's talk about some of the things. And the first thing you may have noticed is tire monitor system. So, like I talked about, that's kind of an anomaly. It's gonna be fine. I've got a new tire pressure sensor on order. I guess the left rear failed, and if the left rear fails, they all fail. You know, as far as the interior goes, this is the, what is it, the 3ZR package. So everybody talks about the Corvette not being very good quality, but you know, it's the blue stitching, which I thought was a good addition because it matched. Everything's carbon fiber. You know, ZR1 emblem there, micro suede, or the suede steering wheel with the blue stitching there, blue stitching up front. You know, that goes all the way around, and then, you know, the seats themselves, I think, you know, to me, they're very high quality, very comfortable. These are competition seats, and you know, I really have had no problem. The only problem I've had is right here there's a rattle. There's some kind of rattle, some kind of squeak, and I've talked to the dealer about it, and I think we both agree that when you start pulling plastic panels apart, more than likely it's going to be, you're going to cause more harm than good, which is a shame for a car, you know, $130,000 car. But, you know, I wouldn't say it's low quality. It's just, you know, you got a little bit of a rattle, and it's been there since 600 miles. So, you know, as far as the modes here, you can change. You can see there, I'm in touring mode, which I've decoupled the modes. In the stock exhaust, you actually can change the exhaust sound, whether the butterfly valves are open or closed. With the AWE touring exhaust, you can't do that. So this one, I don't have that capability. So what you hear right now is basically what you get. You've got touring mode, you got sport, which is a little bit harder on the, you know, ride, track. It does not have a wet mode, so to speak. And then if you press this twice when you're in track, you get active handling, wet, dry, sport 1, sport 2, race modes, and race turns everything off. Sport 2 is a little bit less intrusive, and then sport 1 is what I run in. Dry is a little conservative, and wet is super conservative, like you're not familiar with the track. So I run, when I'm at the track, I run sport 1, and that's what they had us run, you know, at the track itself. So as far as this goes, it's very standard. It's got Apple CarPlay, camera. I've got the front camera as well. A couple more things about the interior that I guess people might care about. My average fuel mileage over the life of the car has been 14.8 miles per gallon, 13.1 on this tank, but and that's driving it like I drive it. You know, I'm not easy on it. You know, I treat it like a sports car. So it's 14.8 miles per gallon. It does have a HUD. I do love the HUD. It does have heated and cooled seats, you know, on both sides actually, which is really nice. It's got OnStar, you know, it's all the standard stuff. And people also ask about this. Why does it have paddles if it's a manual? And that just turns, if you're in gear, see where it's yellow, white, it turns active rev match off and on. That's all it does, either side. So that's all it's for. It does, I mean, I think it's just so they can keep compatibility between the automatic and the manual, but because the automatics have the same paddles for the shifting, but that's all this does. So let's go take a look at the outside. See outside of the car. You see the wheels that I did. God, look at that exhaust. So let's talk about some of the issues. If you watched my track video, you know that you can actually see the bluing here because of how hot it got. At the track, it basically shot a flame out the back during deceleration and melted. These are new emblems because it melted these emblems at the track. What it is, there's our TSB that we haven't complied with yet. I'm still working on that. That basically, under load, the valves command open and dump fuel through the exhaust and basically become a flamethrower, afterburner. So that happened to me at the track, and luckily all it did was melt in the emblems. It didn't actually damage anything else, but that was kind of a bad thing. There was also a TSB for when the right front hits a rumble strip at the track, or it comes off the ground at all. It'll give you a service airbag light, which we got fixed. That was a TSB as well that we complied with, and then that was it. So those are really the biggest things, that rattle. Oh, one more thing that I've noticed, and again, it was kind of too much, and they say it's normal, but when you guys remember the Corvette shoes, I also got them a year ago today at the Corvette Museum. They're Pilotis, Italian. But the other thing is, sometimes going in the first, the car, it grinds. Like it's like it has trouble finding first gear sometimes, which is a little weird. But other than that, I mean, no other issues. Those are really minor in my book. Some might say, well, for as much money as you spend on the car, it's not that minor, but it really is. And you know, the dealership I go to has been really good about helping. Plus, you know, I got my own little CW Lemoyne name tag. Really love this car. So what do you think about the ZR1? I mean, this has been a recap of a full year of ownership. I've loved the car. I've loved going out on a Sunday or a Saturday, driving the lakefront, top off, just enjoying the exhaust. I mean, the AWE touring exhaust and X-Pipe sound amazing. It's an amazing track car. It's not a daily driver, obviously, but for a toy, if you could only have one sports car, what would you own? This is the car. This is amazing. I love it. And so we're gonna get the TSP programmed. I'm gonna get the tire pressure monitor systems set correctly. I may even get rid of the Grand Sport wheels and get like some forge lines or something. Just because I think I want maybe a closer look to the stock ZR1 look than what the Grand Sport wheels, because people are always asking like, you got a Grand Sport, you know, mock-up or whatever? I am happy with it, and you know, still people are asking, well, are you gonna get a C8? This car's got my name on it. I hate to say anything absolute, but my goal is to keep this car as long as I can. And I'd love for this to be my forever sports car, and then whatever I add later on will just be next to it in a, you know, maybe a big garage and have a bunch of cars. Because, you know, I think having the last manual transmission Corvette's amazing, and being able to say that this car was specifically built for me and I picked it up from the factory is just an amazing. And you know, it reminds me of my dad, you know, and that's a big thing to me, is having that memory. So I definitely think I'm going to try to keep it as long as possible. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this review and this recap. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Quick addendum, I wanted to add this before this goes live. I filmed everything yesterday, so today I actually came to the dealer, had an appointment. Hood Chevrolet is where I go. They don't sponsor this or anything. I just think their maintenance department is awesome. So they took a look at finishing everything up. I had come previously to work on the emblems and stuff. We got that fixed, and today they got the tire pressure monitoring system fixed. As well as they went to reprogram it, but it's already been programmed. So I don't know if it was programmed during PDI or what, but he doesn't remember programming it, and I don't remember bringing it here to program after the track. I don't think it's happened. I think it was programmed prior to the track, which means that the flame stuff happened even with the updated TSP programming. So that's very weird, but so I'm gonna have to look at that before I go to the track again. But everything's good to go now. No more check engine light. That is gone, and the car is full up, ready to go. So love this car. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Excuse me. Oh, no. Oh! Been a lot of that. Usually fine with the doors off. Box 2. Don't be a douche. That's rule number 1. Make them tell you no.